Right.
Okay.
It's 2 o'clock. We'll make a start. I say good afternoon, welcome to the meeting Cabinet Scrutiny on the 8th of January. Just to make you aware, today's meeting will be recorded. Can I also welcome members of the public and press to the meeting. I ask them that you kindly observe the meeting only and not speak or participate. And also, can I remind everybody to switch your phones to silent for the duration of the meeting. In addition, can I refer to the protocols for remote meetings which have been previously circulated? Namely, your microphones should be switched to mute unless you are speaking. Should you wish to ask a question or make a comment, can you please indicate either by the chat function or by raising your electronic hand via Teams? And for today's meeting, I'll assume that everybody's read the paperwork before us prior to the meeting. And also in respect of the chat function, can you use it only if you've got technical issues or to raise a point? And I say, when asking a question, ideally indicate which page number you're referring to. First item on the agenda is welcome and roll call. So I say I've welcomed you to the meeting. So we'll go to the roll call. Chloe, please.
Okay, thank you, Chair. We've had apologies from Councillor Harman. So, Councillor Freegard.
I'm Chloe, I'm present.
Oh, you're present, sorry. Councillor Freegard.
Present, Chloe.
Councillor Nigel Hunt.
Present, Chloe.
Councillor Steve Hunt.
I'm here, Chloe.
We've had apologies from Councillor Dennis Keogh. So, Councillor Simon Noyle. Sir Alan Llewellyn.
Present, all present, Chloe.
Councillor Sandra Miller.
Present, Chloe.
Councillor Rydia Mason.
Yeah, present, Chloe.
Councillor Dan Morgan.
Present all.
Councillor Suzanne Patterson.
Present.
Councillor Nepsal.
Present.
Councillor Sheila Penry. I think you're on mute. Oh, thank you. Councillor Sonia Reynolds.
Present.
Councillor Aaron Wilcock.
Present, Chair.
And then Cabinet members, Councillor Rob Jones.
Yes, I'm here, Chloe.
Councillor Edward Latham.
Yeah, present, Chloe.
Councillor Carol Clement Williams.
Present, Chloe.
Councillor Doreen Jones.
Present.
Councillor Alan Lockyer.
Present, Chloe.
Councillor Peter Rees.
Present, Chloe.
Councillor Peter Richards.
Present, Chloe.
Councillor Annette Wingrave.
Present, Chloe.
And Councillor Leanne Jones.
Present, Chloe.
And then officers, Karen Jones.
Yes, here, Chloe.
Jenkins.
Present.
Alan Devons.
Present.
Andrew Thomas. No.
Sorry, no, Andrew is not here this afternoon. He's got another meeting. Apologies.
Andrew Jarrett.
Yeah, present.
Nicola Pierce.
Yes, I'm present.
Big Griffiths.
Present, Chloe.
Hugh Jones. No. Angela Thomas.
Yeah, present.
Harry Warren.
Present.
Mike Roberts. Simon Brannan.
Mike Roberts is not here today. Sorry, Chloe.
Okay, thank you. Simon Brannan.
Present.
Dave Giles.
Present.
Mike Shaw.
Yes, present.
Andrew Lewis. Dave Phillips. Aaron Wedmore. Lynn Finnimore.
You're present, Chloe.
Gilbert.
Present.
Woodman Ralph.
Present.
Charlotte Davis.
Present, sorry.
And Nadine Jones.
Present.
Have I missed anyone? I think that's everyone, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Item 2, declarations of interest. Anybody got any declarations of interest, please? No, I don't see any.
Chair, I do have my hand up.
Sorry, Carol. Sorry, Carol Clement Williams, please.
Yeah, it depends what you're scrutinising, Chair.
Right, we're only going to scrutinise item 7, and we've got to go to item 10 on the cabinet papers.
I have to declare an interest in item 10. You have close family living in Hodgsons Road, and I will leave the meeting.
Okay, fine. And then we've got to go to the under urgent items to the item in respect of the local authority governor for a change to that under urgent items.
Okay. I need to declare the interest on item 10 then, please.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wingrave, please.
Thank you, Chair. I declared interest on 3 items, 8, 9 and 20, but I believe I can sit and listen to the discussion because we don't vote until we get to Cabinet. Is that correct, Craig?
It is indeed. If we're not going to be scrutinising them as any issues, that's absolutely fine at that point,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting, pages 5 to 10. Does anyone have any comments on these minutes, please? No comments. Could I have a proposer for the minutes and a seconder, please?
Move, Chair.
Thank you.
Second, Chair.
Lovely, thanks. Okay, so they go through as they are. Then item 4, pre-decision scrutiny. Okay, it's to select appropriate items from the cabinet agenda for pre-decision scrutiny. Cabinet reports enclosed for scrutiny members. So we go to the cabinet scrutiny papers. And for the information of the cabinet members and officers, we've chosen to only scrutinise only item 7 from the cabinet agenda, which is the commitment to a preferred IT system to support social services functions. At pre-scrutiny, we had a number of indications in respect of councillors wishing to ask questions on this item. Unless officers got anything to add to the report, then as normal, we go straight to questions. And the first question is from Councillor. Sorry, Mr. Jarrett, you got your hand up?
No, thanks very much, Chair. I'll keep my camera off, that's okay, because I'm having some problems with my connection. I'm happy just to take questions on this report as long as scrutiny have understood the report, because I think it is quite technical in the way that it's written. I'm happy to say a few words beforehand, but also just happy just to move to questions if that helps.
Okay, I think we've read the papers. I think we'll go straight to questions. Councillor Arwyn Wilcock, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wondered, Chair, with regard to the reference in the report that it's used by health as well, or the connection with health. And I'm just wondering if the proposed system is going to be compatible with health so that we can remain to have effective collaborative working. I do fully understand, Chair, the where the director is coming on this, but if he could just clear that particular point. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jarrett, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I've brought along Ian Finnemore and Dave Giles. Dave Giles from IT and Ian Finnemore from Social Services, who's been leading on this for me. So I'm happy to ask Ian Finnemore to come in at this stage.
Okay, thank you. Ian, please.
Okay, yes. In terms of the IT system itself, the integration approach that we've adopted, Chair, is more so in terms of looking to develop great integration more practically and operationally within the service. So currently we have many health staff who can access relevant aspects of our social services database. And likewise as well, we have access to relevant parts of health systems. So that integration is born out of integrated teams. and the anticipation is, because it's a newer version, without going the technical aspects, which probably Dave could elaborate on, the user interface will be an improvement. The ability for people to see one another's system will improve, and the fact that as part of the adult remodelling proposals that are currently ongoing, there will be greater teams, integrated teams working alongside one another. So again, access to one another's information as opposed to IT system is critical, and this system will just further support what's already there.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, Councillor Wilcock.
Yeah, that's fine, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the next councillor got questions on this is Councillor Del Morgan, who I believe has got a number of questions. Councillor Morgan, please.
Diolch yn fawr, Gareth, thank you. I have 4 questions, and it's better, I think, if I ask them one at a time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Question 1. So in the short term, we've got SSIS on Oracle Forms, and then in the medium term, within about 2 years, it looks as if we'll have SSIS on Oracle Apex, which is the improved one. In the longer term, we'll get to choose between remaining on an SSIS or migrating to perhaps a new and better version of WCCIS, if that comes about. So with that sort of timescale, Chair, how does the remodelling of adult services, which is mentioned in our report as being important, how does that fit in with those IT timescales?
I'm happy to take this one, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Angela.
So we've already started that piece of work in Oracle Forms. So the go-live date for the remodelling is the 1st of April, subject to COVID restrictions, etc. That will all take place as is happening now. As we move to the Apex bit, that this isn't going to affect the remodelling, it's going to enhance. So what we are doing is moving to multi-agency teams in 3 networks: Swansea Valley, Pontardawe, Neath and the Avon networks. So we are increasing the number of staff, staffing complement I should say. This will merge district nursing, acute clinical teams, social work teams, business support, occupational therapists, etc., all working in one team. So it will enhance that, and we're looking to move to that by the 1st of April. Longer term, I think we've always remained of the view that when WCCIS can offer something better than we have in-house, then yes, we would move to that. But just for members to be aware, we also have access now to something called Signal, which is the up-to-date live information of what's happening in the acute hospital sites, and business support staff have access to that on a daily basis. So we are having two-way information, albeit not the same IT system.
Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you, Chair. Question, please. Question 2. I'm noting from the WAO report that's in our appendix that Neath Talbot and our health board here are not yet convinced of the offerings of WCCIS. Yet there's a suggestion that Swansea Council seem to be a bit more comfortable with it. Do we know the health board's opinion on the situation? Do we know Swansea Council's opinion and why they have signed a deployment order?
Okay, Mr. Jarrett, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks for that question, Councillor Morgan. So the Health Board are in very much the same boat as we are, that they're committed to a whole Wales system in the long term, but actually they need to be convinced that the time is right for them to move, so they can move to WCCIS, but they are committed to it in the longer term. And are currently working towards that. I mean, in the health system, there's very few health organisations who have actually gone on to a WCCIS, and it will be a big job for them to do that. It's very much a big change of culture for their health departments across Wales. As far as Swansea are concerned, they had already procured an off-the-shelf system. And had been using that for some time. That system then came up for renewal, so it came to the end of its life, and they had to make a decision about whether they bought into another off-the-shelf solution or whether they went with WCCIS. And on the basis of, well, they would have to have a system in any case that was generally untested, they went with WCCIS. So it was just because they were having to procure a new system in any case, and so they went with WCCIS really to help support it from within.
Thank you, Chair. Question 3, with regard to the future now then, what would realistically be the earliest date when we could migrate onto the WCCIS platform? That's assuming that by that time the WCCIS has improved in relation to all the aspects that we raise. When would be the earliest timescale possible for that?
Chair, shall I come in for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be looking to change our stance within the next 5 years, Councillor Morgan. I think that if we're investing now in writing a system which will help to support the redesign of our adult services, we get that in place. I would want to continue to develop that over the medium term. So I wouldn't be looking to change this decision before the next 5 years. In 5 years, I think we will have a better idea about where WCCIS fits across the whole of Wales.
Thank you, Chair. I think that's a realistic timescale for that. And last question then, if I may. So in the meantime, what is the scope for developing more commonality and compatibility between our SSIS and the WCCIS in terms of both functionality and outputs? So, you know, to enable perhaps a more collaborative approach across the region.
Okay.
Chair, I think I probably will have to defer to Dave Giles on the technicalities of that, but I would say that we already share quite a lot of information on a regional basis through the regional partnership boards. That's not because our computer systems talk to each other, and whether that's possible or not, I'm not sure, but just because we share so much information, and because this has already been said, Councillor Morgan, we have integrated teams. We have integrated teams that are regional teams, which include health, Swansea and Neath Talbot staff, and so the information sharing is pretty fluid across the piece. As far as the technicalities of the computer systems talking together, I'd need to defer to Dave.
Yeah, if I could, that'd be great. Effectively, the systems are disparate, as WCCIS would be as well. But what we will be doing, we're keeping on track of what's developments in WCCIS, the data information protocols that they push out, and also any form designs, any agreed forms that come out, and we'll look to assimilate that into the system. We maintain the core details of the NHS number, so we'll track it so that as WCS is ready and suitable for us, we'll ease the transition into it. So we'll monitor that constantly throughout and adapt our system to try to help with that process.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm more than satisfied with all those answers, and I certainly support the recommendation.
Thanks so much, Councillor Morgan. The next councillor to ask a question is Councillor Lynette Purcell, please. Lynette.
Hi, thank you very much. I also totally support the recommendation, although I do have a question. But looking at the report, I think the most worrying thing are the very negative comments from the Wales Audit Office, particularly knowing the background towards the development of the remodelling of adult services. The fact that we are concerned that mobile working is critical to the new adult service model, and WAO refer to how there have been complete outages with WCCIS. We couldn't possibly consider doing that until it's very, very much improved. And I think your 5-year projection is a good one. But my critical question is on page 88, where it says under the risk categories, it says IT staffing resources will need to be allocated. And I need to know, will this happen? Has IT got the staff, and which department would be funding that? So I'm looking at page 88, and I think it's bullet point 30.
Okay. Who's taking? Right, see your hand up, Mr. Jarrett, please. Thank you.
I mean, I think Dave will want to say something about this, Chair. But from my point of view, when I was thinking about the options for us, I did need to be reassured that we had the IT infrastructure in place to help us do this. Because if that wasn't in place, then I think the decision would be very different. I've spoken to Dave Giles and Ian at length, and I've been reassured that they will, and we will have the expertise to do this. We've done it before. We've got a good track record. I think we've generally been the envy of Welsh local authorities, social services departments, in that we've got our own system that we can write and change as and when necessary. So I have to say, before I put this recommendation before Cabinet, I was making sure that we did have both the expertise within the service, but also the commitment to see this through in a time frame. And I'm hoping that's what Dave is going to reassure me of.
Dave, please, with Mr. Jarrett hoping.
Yeah, the expertise within the service is there. We've had we have a degree of churn in the service, that's inevitable, but we are recruiting, going through, so we have the skill sets to develop the system and the business understanding to do it. Obviously, there's a resource implication in terms of we have to put the work time to work, so we'll have to profile the work to allow for that, but that's part of the plan as well. So we've allowed for that factor.
So, sorry, Chair. Just there was a question I didn't answer, which was who's paying for this. Well, we would have, Councillor Purcell, been having to pay WCCIS the money on a yearly basis in any case. So we have agreed from social services to transfer the budget from reserves across to central IT to take care of this work.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Chair.
You're muted, Councillor Tawe.
I think somebody's got the microphone. I'm going to give bottles going. Councillor Paddison, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. We all know that social services in the past year have come through a horrendous time, and the staff in Neath Port Talbot have been exemplary. I have no problems in accepting the recommendations. There is just one question that I think I would like sort of spelled out. What will we be at any disadvantage if we go with our own in-house system? Thank you.
Okay, Mr.
Chair, if I can ask Ian. I can see Angela's indicated, but probably Dave Giles as well, to give that reassurance to Councillor Paddison. I mean, my view is that we won't. I suppose we can still input into the overall development of WCCIS. We don't actually need to have signed up to that, so we can make sure that when it is fit for purpose, it meets our needs in Neath Port Talbot as well. So we're not totally out of the tent. But other than that, I can't see any disadvantage for us in doing what we're proposing today, but maybe Dave and Angela and Ian have a different view.
Thank you, Mr. Jarrett.
Okay, I got a couple of hands up. Angela first, please.
Yeah, just to give some reassurances. So if we go back to when we implemented the integrated children's system, I led that piece of work with Ian and Dave's team back in 2005. We're trying to replicate that in adult services. It is the envy of the rest of Wales. So despite all these off-the-shelf systems that are thrown at us, it's never been better than being developed in-house. I'd say we'd be on the front foot. We'd be far further ahead once this is implemented.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Okay, Mr. Finneymore, you got your hand up, please.
Yeah, yes, Councillor Paddison, just to reassure yourself and the chair members, the core functionality within our system will still replicate that within WCCIS. So all our statutory obligations in terms of reporting to Welsh Government, but also as well capturing our own internal information, and will all exist regardless. So, I feel we have the best of both worlds. Outwardly, we have that commitment to report what we need to report. Internally, we can develop our system to meet the specific needs of our directorate.
I'd like to thank all those three officers for giving their answers. I anticipated that they would be so, but I felt it was worth asking the question. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. And then last indication I had pre-scrutiny was from Councillor Stephen Hunt, please. Councillor Hunt.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I won't take much time. The recommendations on page 90 are fully supportive of this report on the recommendations. Members have asked some of the questions I might have asked, and I'm very happy with the responses and answers from those here today. Just one little thing I wanted to ask was regarding the system. obviously IT changes very rapidly, and there's never been a more important time because of coronavirus, I suppose, that IT needs to be fit for purpose. I have no doubt that with our officers and those involved, we'll make sure that we have that fit for purpose for this authority. However, I just wonder that is there a contract on this particular SSIS with the Oracle Apex? You mentioned delivery of up to 5 years, but if there's a contract then, because it's an expensive piece of kit to roll out, and if something new comes along during the contract period, that would make it even better. I just wondered, have you got the options to change or add to that system? Because we're always looking to improve as an authority and have the very best IT for the service that we provide. Thank you, Chair. Okay, thanks.
Mr. Jarrett, please.
Yeah, I mean, if I can come in, I think absolutely, as Angela said, we got the best of both worlds. I think if we pull together our own program, then we've learned that we can change it and make it as responsive as we need to make it. That's different, Councillor Hunt, if you have 7, 8, 9, 10 organisations all trying to run the same system. If you want to make any changes whatsoever, any improvements, and that's got to go through and be agreed 10 times. Plus, then you've got to then pay them the IT supplier to do that. So I still think we've been blessed by our in-house service. And as I said, I think we're the envy of Wales as far as that's concerned. I mean, Dave can answer the more sort of technical question around, well, actually, if something, around Apex and whether we're stuck into a contract with Apex, certainly there will be a contract. The actual amount of money that we'll be paying IT to develop the system, though, is the same amount of money there or thereabouts as we will be paying for WCCIS on a yearly basis. And I will expect there will be additional costs for WCCIS in the near future as they try and rectify some of the issues that they've got. But I'll hand over to Dave and he can answer the specifics.
Thank you. Dave, please.
Okay, thanks. Just in terms of the contracts in place, I mean, we've got core technology contracts for the database itself. So we own the databases and the technology around it. So the costs there are annual maintenance fees to maintain it in an up-to-date format. So the principal costs for the developments then are the staffing costs and the skills to develop it, and that's within our control. So if something were to come along, we need to make an enhancement, we need to make a thing, we can do that based on the stuff that we own and we currently pay maintenance on. So we bought the product, the core product, several years ago.
Okay, thanks for that. Anybody else got any questions on this item, please? If you could indicate. No, I don't see anybody else got any questions. In respect of this, the recommendations are on page 90 on the papers under point 37. They're at A and B. Are we all happy for that to go to Cabinet as they...
I move, Chair. I move.
Thank you. Anybody not happy? No, we're all happy. I got Councillor Morgan proposing. Could I have a seconder, please?
A second, Chair.
Lovely, thanks. So that item goes as it is. We're not scrutinising any further items 8, 9, but we've got to go to item 10, the proposed creation and extinguishment order for the footpath from Hodgsons Road to the River Tawe, community of Ystalyfera. I'd like to call in, Councillor Clement Williams, got your hand up, please?
Yes, Chair, I need to leave the meeting for this item as I have an interest.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for that.
There's somebody getting back in touch with me after it's finished, yeah? Okay,
I can see Chloe nodding her head, so we won't leave you out for long.
Thank you.
Okay, could I call in, I'll wait for you to leave and say Councillor Williams gone. Could I call in Mike Shaw on this item, please? Mr. Shaw?
Yes, of course, sir. Thank you very much. Members, this is item number 10 on the Cabinet report at pages 157 to 166. Members, there is a mistake in the report. The ward
Chair,
is incorrect.
sorry. Can I just check? Is this report private?
No.
No, it's not. Sorry. Apologies. That's my fault.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, forgive me. There was a mistake in the report. The ward incorrectly is stated as Ystalyfera. It is.
Let's stop you for a minute. I got Councillor Alan Llewellyn's put his hand up. Alan, is that in respect of?
Sorry, Chair. I was just going to come in very briefly after Mike Shaw had given his report.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't know if you had a declaration or anything.
No,
thank
no,
you.
no.
Okay, apologise, Mr. Shaw.
Not
Sorry.
at all. Not at all, sir. And thank you, Councillor Llewellyn. No, it's just clearing up that particular mistake. The ward is incorrectly stated as Ystalyfera. It is in fact Godrewgraig. Other than that, there's not a great deal I can add to the report unless there are any questions arising.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Llewellyn, please.
Yeah, just very briefly, Chair. Yeah, I think perhaps the confusion arose from the fact that it's within the community area of Ystalyfera, which includes Ystalyfera and Godrewgraig, but the footpath is actually in the Godrewgraig ward, and I know Councillor Ros Davis has picked up on that, and I have spoken to Ros about it. She's happy with the actual recommendation as the local. She's the local member for the area. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks for that. Any other questions or comments on this item, please? Okay, I don't see any. The recommendation in respect of this is on, well, the recommendations page 164 and 165. Are we happy for them to go to, obviously we heard the amendment to it, happy for them to go to Cabinet with the amendment? Anybody not happy? Could I have a proposal, please? Thank you. And seconder, thank you. So that goes to Cabinet as it is. And then I'd like to go back to the Cabinet Scrutiny papers, item 5, the Scrutiny Forward Work Programme 2020 to 21. Again, anybody got any items for the Forward Work Programme as part of the Cabinet Scrutiny Committee, then let Member Services know, or myself, and they'll go on. And that's just for noting. And then we go back to the Cabinet papers. We are not scrutinising any other items, but we need to go to urgent items. And I say we have two, which are the commitment to preferred, the proposed agreement for ground lease licence to build an option to purchase land and buildings known as the former dairy site off Cribbs Row, Neath, and the removal of the local authority governor. So we're not scrutinising these items. However, I've been made aware that there has been a change in respect of the item and the calling period for the local authority governor item. So we have to deal with this item in private. So I'll now have to need to move to go to private. So in respect of access to meetings, I resolve to exclude the public for the following items pursuant to Regulation 4(3) and 5 of Statutory Instrument 2001, number 2290, and the relevant exempt paragraphs of Part 4, Schedule 12A to the Local Government Act 1972. Can I please have a proposer and seconder to move into private, please?
I move, Chair.
Okay, at this point in the meeting, I would like to thank any members of the public and press for joining us this afternoon. But please could I now ask that you leave the meeting? And also could I ask the recording of this meeting is now stopped?